Well, welcome to the channel, guys. We've got a really insightful video today from an expert on the transgender push. I'm going to let you make your mind up about this. This is an absolute gold piece of insight into this. You'll be alarmed at how it's progressively intensified and what it's doing to young people now. This woman's gotten right to the bottom of it. She is an absolute expert. I'm surprised they haven't done something to her to stop her. But we'll switch to this now. Look, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, guys, please subscribe. The subscriptions are getting up. Not bad for 3 weeks. I don't know how they rate, but there's more subscribers than the videos now. So let's turn to this absolutely insightful interview. I recommend everybody watch it and share it. Share this. I'm going to do it in 3 parts, 10-minute parts, maybe 4. I think it's 3 or 4. But let's begin this insightful, informational, knowledge-gaining interview with this woman by the name of Jennifer Berlek. She is a feminist, which makes this very interesting, but she's straight down the line. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Now, I've taken this from another channel. I'll leave the link to that channel below. Enjoy these 10-minute part series.
Hi, I'm James Patrick, the director of Big Picture Watch and the film Planet Lockdown. I'd like to introduce you today a very interesting woman named Jennifer Berlek. She's a feminist and investigative journalist who's dug deep into the transsexual issue. She's found out it has an intersection with transhumanism, and there's huge big billionaires pushing this issue and pushing it down our throats, frankly. Her work at the 11th Hour blog is some of the best work I've seen on this issue, and she gets to the bottom of the story and who's behind it. Let's hear what she has to say.
An investigative journalist, and I write at the intersection of the gender industry, technology, and runaway corporatism. I got into writing about this industry because I was in activist circles. I've campaigned for women's rights since I'm in my 20s. I've campaigned for the environment, etc., etc. There came a point around 2013 or so that suddenly people were being deplatformed for acknowledging biological reality, that we are a sexually dimorphic species. There are only male and female sexes. We are a sexually dimorphic species, just male and female, and there isn't anything in between. Transsexualism has been around probably in the United States since the 1950s. Some people remember Christine Jorgensen made a big splash in the papers. But, you know, it wasn't really part of our vernacular, our, social vernacular at all. There was a few men who had this fetish, this adult male fetish of appropriating female, synthetic simulacrums of female biology for their, sexual gratification. It used to be cross-dressing, transvestites, and then as soon as the medical industrial complex advanced to the point where they could make reasonably, good fake sexes, then, they started to appropriate female anatomy. Well, in the 1940s, this guy William Sims Bainbridge was born. He graduated Harvard as a sociology professor. He's written many, many, many books about cults, religions, technology, gaming, the future of psychological mind control. And he now works at the head of the National Science Foundation's Cyber Human program, which is the melding. It's basically overlooks the ethics involved in human cyber melding. And you can see this trajectory in the along late 1990s, early 2000s. There was a big shift in the culture from, data, from the digital age and the information age, and it sort of moved into artificial intelligence, transhumanism, robots, nanotechnology, biotechnology, etc. So this is kind of where we're going now. This is like the future trajectory of this. But, Silicon Valley has been pushing a transhumanist agenda for, since the early 2000s, late 1990s. So then Bainbridge meets up with another interesting character, Martine Rothblatt, who is also a transhumanist. And Rothblatt is, he's a transsexual. He's a man that's appropriated simulacrums of women's biology for himself, and he calls himself, a transgender or a transsexual. And he's traveled around broadly in the culture in many different circles because he's accomplished so many different things. He's very well renowned and very well, appreciated for his accomplishments. So he's been in the tech sector, he's been in the medical sector, he's been in all over Hollywood. He's been on Oprah and he's been on a million different shows, with his robot wife, which he created. Rothblatt wrote a book, and it's really a blueprint of what's going on in the culture now. This is his ideology, working off of the work of Bainbridge. Whereas we're going to disintegrate the sexes, the boundary between the sexes. There'll be no youth and age. There'll be no, male and female. There'll be no, transhumanism is like boundarylessness. You're out there in cyberspace. Ultimately, while you're getting there, it's an upgrade in humanity, melding yourself with machines, transferring human reproduction to the tech sector. In, I think it was late 1980, he got together with a whole bunch of other transvestite lawyers and transsexuals, and they created a document, which was the very first gender bill, which brings disembodiment into the law, the sexual objectification of female biology, into parts, and making a human right out of that. Right?
So what do you mean disembodiment?
Well, where he's going is full-on disembodiment, where everybody lives in cyberspace. We live in a virtual reality. We don't live in our bodies anymore. We're going to be uploaded into cyberspace. Well, in order to sell that to the public, transhumanism and disembodiment as a life, you're going to have to groom them and get them there. And the way to do that is to create this ideology that says that you can choose your sex. That's disembodiment. You can't choose your sex. You are the body that you were born as, no matter what happens to you. I mean, in 200 years, if they dig up my bones, they're going to find a female. You can't. So the ideology is promoting the idea that you can, right? So, and they're driving this ideology into children's schools. Not only their schools, they're driving it into their entertainment, their social media platforms, their schools, all the organizations that children are all jumping on board with this ideology. And this has only happened in the past 10 years. I mean, before this, we didn't hear about this word. We didn't hear transgenderism. We didn't even hear transsexual. 2014, Laverne Cox was on the cover of Time magazine, owned by Mark Benioff. And it announced a transgender tipping point when there was really nothing preceding that to warrant that would be a tipping point.
So we'll make that part one of